Earth, fire, air.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Emma.
And I'm Jerica. Today we're going to be talking about all the different types of alternative energy.
For each one, we're going to evaluate the pros and cons.
We are going to decide which alternative energy source is best for the environment. I'm going to be talking about wind energy and wave energy.
I'm going to be talking about solar and biomass.
I'm going to be talking about hydroelectric and tidal energy.
Wind energy is a growing industry and it is very simple to understand. It works by turning a 2 or 3-piece propeller-like blade around a rotor, which is connected to the main shaft. This spins a generator to create electricity. It has several pros and cons. The pros are that wind energy is clean and renewable, and it's good for rural economies because it creates jobs. It's cost-effective because it can provide energy to numerous homes. It can be built on existing farms, and it has lots of potential because it is still being developed and improved. The cons are that it is expensive at first to set up because you have to pay for all of the equipment. It can harm wildlife such as birds if they fly into the generator. It causes noise pollution and is an eyesore, so many people don't want it near them. It needs maintenance, which is expensive to pay for staff to clean it. And without wind, there is no power. The blades can be a safety hazard if the wind causes them to fly off. And it's only suitable to certain locations such as the Midwest and the coast. And fuel is needed to transport it, which is not good for the environment. Wave energy uses clean and constant waves as a source of energy. Many doubted it because the ocean is seen as too harsh. However, many different devices have been created to convert waves to energy. The energy is created when mechanical energy from the waves is converted by a generator into useful energy. The generator is fueled by a series of long units floating with the movements of the waves and with the gravity and buoyancy changes in the point absorber that does the work. The pros of wave energy are that it is environmentally friendly as it has no harmful byproducts. It's abundant because most of the earth is made up of ocean. There are a variety of ways to gather it because of all the devices that have been created. It is predictable because it depends on the wind and weather patterns, and there are no damage to land because it is in the ocean only. The cons of wave energy are that only places near the ocean are benefited. It harms marine animals in a negative way if they're caught in the turbine. It harms commercial and private vessels because they can't pass the turbines. It doesn't work in rough weather because the storms affect the turbines. It needs a constant flow of powerful waves, otherwise there's not enough to create electricity. And there's noise and visual pollution.
Tidal energy is a type of hydropower that transforms the movement of the tides into electricity or other practical forms of power. This energy source is the result of the gravitational fields from both the sun and the moon, combined with the Earth's rotation around its axis, resulting in high and low tides. It is the difference in potential energy of these tides that is the source of power generation from tidal energy. The pros of tidal energy are that it is a renewable source, it doesn't take up a lot of space, there are no emissions, still generate electricity at low speeds, long lifespans, they're inexpensive to run, and they don't block the view of the beach. Tidal barrages help protect the coast during storms. However, tidal energy also has disadvantages. There are unknown environmental effects since this is still a very new source of energy, and it must be close to land. They are expensive, and barrages block the flow of tidal waves. They must be located in specific areas, and they only work 10 hours out of 24. And they could be damaged by storms and are hard to repair since they are underwater. If tidal turbines are installed on seabeds where the diaplow is the strongest, they are most efficient because the water's density is higher than the air by approximately 800 times. While tidal turbines cost more to build, they generate more energy. Another type of tidal energy are tidal fences, which use vertical axis turbines anchored in a rower fence and placed on the seabeds. Another type of tidal energy is tidal barrages, which are the most common form. Tidal energy works by the turbine and the generator converting the movement of the water coming from the change in tide, the kinetic energy, into electricity. Since water is denser than air, it can generate electricity at lower speeds than wind turbines. Tidal barrages, as you know, are the most common form of tidal energy. They resemble dams used in hydroelectric energy. The difference is that they are a lot bigger since they are constructed across a bay or an estuary, and they work slightly different than regular tidal energy. They use the tide when it goes up to the lagoon after it fills up with water, And then when the water recedes, the lagoon drains through the opening of the turbines, and the outward flow of the water turns the turbine, which generates electricity. Dam energy is similar to tidal energy in that they are both forms of hydroelectric energy. However, the cons of dam energy are that it disrupts ecosystems, it's expensive, and can trigger earthquakes, as seen in the Three Gorges Dam. The dam pros, however, are that it can control floods, provides recreation, and jobs. There's no pollution, they are low maintenance, renewable, and used for energy. Hydroelectric dams account for 20% of the world's total production of electrical energy and converts potential energy to electrical energy by means of a turbine and an alternator. The first use of a dam is to store water to compensate for fluctuations in river flow or in a demand for water and energy. The second is to raise the level of the water upstream to enable water to be diverted into a canal.
Bioenergy is energy that is derived from biomass and is produced either directly or indirectly from organic materials, including plant materials and animal byproducts. The three most prominent resources used in biomass for bioenergy are fuel wood, charcoal, and animal dung. Bioenergy makes up 10% of the world's energy demand. The majority of the bioenergy supply is used in developing countries because it's mainly used for cooking and heating. Bioenergy is considered renewable because it is a transformed form of solar energy. The two types of bioenergy are primary and secondary sources. Primary sources are organic materials in natural forms such as firewood, wood chips, and pellets. Secondary sources are in the form of solids, liquids, or gases such as charcoal, ethanol, biodiesel, hydrogen, and they are used in wider applications including transport and industrial processes. There are 65% less greenhouse gas emissions than petroleum. The pros are that feedstock can be easily produced through existing infrastructure and technology. The cons are that they require large amounts of inputs in terms of fertilizer, water, and land area, thereby reducing the net energy ratio. The pros of secondary sources are that feedstock can be easily produced, the use of a whole plant instead of only seeds or grains, and the use of residues creates more energy produced per hectare of land. The cons of secondary sources are that even though it requires less land compared to primary sources, there are still large amounts of land used, and the use of agriculture and forest residue degrades soil quality and also induces soil erosion. There are two types of solar energy systems, which are passive and active. Passive solar systems absorb and store heat from the sun directly using a well-insulated structure. One of the main ways of having passive solar systems are to have south-facing windows if you are in the northern hemisphere to maximize the amount of sunlight coming into the building. Active solar systems utilize a heat-absorbing fluid that is located on the floor of the building. The liquid heats up and then circulates throughout the entire house, creating a hotter interior. The pros of these systems are that there are very low carbon dioxide and other pollutant emissions, a very low land disturbance, there's only a moderate cost, and there's a very moderate to high net energy. The cons of these solar systems are that there's a limited access to the sun throughout the day, high installation costs, and the sun or other structures can block the sun. The electricity that is created using solar energy comes from photovoltaic cells. These solar panels are made with silicon and work by having solar energy hit the wires on the cells, releasing electrons. While solar is a fairly effective and environmentally friendly energy source, the problems with photovoltaic cells are the high cost, the need to be located in sunny desert areas, fossil fuels are used in their production, and solar cells can contain toxic materials.
Drop it like it's hot. 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 Drop it like it's hot.